Hello, we're going to put together this workbench today. Oh, let's see what it says here. First things first. Put the cross braces and the legs and put them together. There's our legs. Cross brace, another cross brace. Okay, I'm putting together this little workbench, and the Chinaman who sent it to me thought one bolt is just like another. One's supposed to be a hex bolt and the other one's a Phillips. Well, they sent me same kind of shoulder bolt. They are both Phillips. However, I did just notice, oops, one is a little shorter than the other. Now I've got to figure out which one is supposed to be the shorter one to hold the cross braces to the legs. So it looks like, according to the instructions, bolt 9, that's this one, is the longer bolt. So that's the one we're going to use. And it looks like we need 4 of those per cross brace, so a total of 8. So let me pull out the 8 long bolts. Oh, that's a short. That's a short. There are only 4. So although there are 4 holes in each cross brace, they only give me 4 bolts. So I guess I'm only using 2 per side. Let me find the correct nuts and washers next, and we'll start putting it together. Okay, a note to these Chinese manufacturers who make these kinds of things: make sure of 2 things. First of all, that your quality control people know how to count and can recognize the difference between a hex bolt, which is what this calls for, and a Phillips head bolt. Just because they're the same length, the same thread pitch, the same diameter, those are 2 different kinds of bolts. Secondly, according to these Chinesium instructions, it says right up here, step 1, use bolts number 9, washers number 13, and nuts number 10 to connect crossbars and legs. Okay, come down here to the instructions. You see this? Crossbars going to the legs. Why don't we have a breakout over here that shows the actual connection and how many washers you're supposed to use? Because this crossbar, there's 2 holes on that end, 2 holes on that end, to where it connects to the legs. Right? But I only got 4 bolts, 4 wrong bolts, but they should work because they're the right length. And it doesn't show the breakout of where these washers go. Now, because it calls for 8 washers in the instructions, I'm assuming one's going to go under the head and one's going to go under the nut. And that you'd need 4 nuts. But look closely here at the instructions again. Okay, so it says nuts 10. You go over here to nuts 10, and the total is 8. So am I supposed to use 2 nuts on every bolt? I mean, like a lock nut? Who knows? They didn't specify. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Let me get you kind of set back up here. All right. I've got the correct parts and everything. Excuse me, I got to get a little water. And I've got our very interesting legs here. Now, notice that one's like straight, but this one has got a kick out on it. And according to these instructions, once again, in the diagram, not to get right side, it tells you make sure you get that kick out. But see, the kick out's on one side on this side, but it's on the opposite on the other side. That's important, because when I set these up and was putting the feet on the bottom of them, those feet are angled in two different directions. You see that? So you have to figure out which way they go on there. Because when you set these down to put them together, does this go on the outside, this little folding bracket part here, or does it go on the inside? Again, the instructions do not specify, and you can't tell from the diagram really where it goes. What gave it away is if you look at that diagonal cross brace right underneath my finger, it appears to be on the inside on this one and on the inside on the other. So that's how we're going to set it up. So that's what we've got here. It's on the inside on this one, it's on the inside on that one. So now, we're going to take our cross brace here. And which direction does that go? Which direction does the lip go? That's very interesting. Again, it doesn't say or show. So, and where exactly are the holes that it goes into? Oh, there's this one. Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to set this up kind of and then move the camera. Okay, so you see, it goes, you see how it's notched on the end there. And then again, how this piece is kind of angled. So, and our holes are on the outside of the leg here. So you slide it on there like that. We'll take a bolt and a washer and put it through the hole. Where's my trusty assistant? He's not playing cameraman either. That's all right. This ain't my first rodeo. And I'm smarter than your average bear. So, I will manage this all by my lonesome. Even with a handful of bolts and washers and trying to hold this and move the camera and everything else. There we go. Okay, those two are in. Now, just to get some nuts on the back of them. And of course, with those nuts, there will be another washer. So, turn this around when you can see what I'm doing. There's the bolts, washer, and nut. Tighten it down just a little bit. Get that one pushed back through there. Oh, come on. I ain't ever had no trouble finding the hole. There we go. Good. Sorry about that. Yeah, I need to see that. Just a big old gut. I'm sorry, but you know, it's like 95 degrees here in Arkansas today, and I'm in my garage, and I got one of them little 5,000 BTU portable air conditioners, you know, one of them baby ones, and it's sitting right here at my back, and it is still too hot to be wearing a shirt. Now, y'all who live in the South, y'all understand that. You know, men in the South, it turns to summer, and we start coming out of our clothes. Some of us more than others. All right, got those screwed down, and then I'm gonna take out my handy dandy little USB rechargeable Chinesium electric screwdriver. Now let me tell you, I'll leave a link for these in Amazon for you, where you can get you one. It's the best little battery screwdriver I've ever owned. It's got good torque, the battery lasts a good long time, and it comes with all these bits. And unfortunately, I put the wrong size in. I used the small one. I need the next size up. Give me more while I swap these out. Anyway, it sets down in like that. It comes with a charging cord which goes over that. And it's got a top that goes on here that locks on. So you can keep it all together in one place. You don't lose it. Oops. You heard that torque down, didn't you? You got some serious torque on it. It's also got, it may be hard to see that, but it's got three speeds on it, and that one's off, and it also locks the bit so you can use it like a regular screwdriver. All right, that's one side done. Now let's set this up and connect the other side. So you got bolt, washer, line it up, get it through the hole. There you go. And just repeat that process one more time. And then we'll grab the little flat nut, because there's a couple of nylock, or there are 4 nylock nuts in here as well. And I'm not sure where those go, but we'll cover that when we get there. All right, again, we'll put a washer on the back, put a nut on, just about, finger tight, just to get it started. And of course, grab our handy dandy little cordless screwdriver here and put the screws to it. Screw it down hard. There we go. Alrighty. Now we can do this again on the other side. Okay, set up there. And now, isn't this interesting, folks? Because this is where I would have 4 more of those bolts and washers to do the other side. But I don't. I used all 4 on that side. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is flip this back around, take 2 of the long ones out and substitute 2 of the short ones that they sent me, and use 2 long ones on the other side, so at least it's even all the way around. So I'm going to take the 2 long ones out of the bottom. I'm gonna flip this back around here, put the other cross brace on, and then we'll come back and put some short bolts and washers and nuts on the other side. I'm definitely gonna have to get on the website where I ordered this from, Temu, find out who the manufacturer of this is, and send them some tips and tell them they ought to hire me to do their quality control for them. Make sure everything's got the right parts in it and everything. I'm pretty sure I could sit down with a cell phone, an AI program, probably Gemini, to tell you the truth, to figure out if the bag of parts is showing not only the correct number of parts, but the actual correct parts. And then they could fire that daggum quality control kid they got and save some damn money and pay me instead for setting up the damn program to run for them. In fact, I know I could do that in about 10 minutes. You can get all the software for free and use damn used cell phone someplace. They can access Gemini, and away we go. And I ended up with an extra washer and hand down where it went. Right there on that lady. Another little program or app that I want to make is, you know, when you go to your doctors, especially if it's a new one, you know, they give you, well, they ask for your insurance card, they ask for your ID, and they make a photocopy of that. And then they ask you if everything on your ID is correct and everything on your insurance card is correct. And of course you tell them yes. And then they hand you a piece of paper, or well, actually in my case, it was a dermatologist, and she handed me 8 pieces of paper, front and back, that asked me for the exact same pieces of information they just photocopied into their computer, actually scanned it into their computer. But they scanned it in as a picture. And if they scanned it in and used OCR, optical character recognition, they wouldn't have to ask that question 2 times on every single page, front to back. Now, I'm all for making sure you got the correct information and everything, but my word. After the first page, I just put on there, please refer to front page. Because somebody doesn't know how to write, first of all. When you're making these documents and writing these documents, you ought to freaking know better. But the simple fact of the matter is, you've already got the information in your computer. Just make your computer put it where it's supposed to go. I mean, that's not hard to do. I told her too, I said, you know, you could actually fire both those secretaries you got up front and just hire a little old receptionist at minimum wage and show them this is what you got to do. Is scan this document into here, you know, their driver's license and their insurance card. And with that, then you'd have everything you need already in your form and everything else digitally. You wouldn't have to give them none of this paper to fill out. In fact, you could hand them a cheap Android tablet for the rest of this information that you need. And they can do it all digitally. And the second they are done on it, the guy, all he has to do is set it on a little charging pad over here, and it would automatically transfer that information out of that tablet and into their file. And she says, they got all that? I said, honey, I can set that up for you in the afternoon with free software. But now, it's going to cost you $250 an hour for my time. And of course, I estimate my time at 40 hours. So, you got the money, I'll set it up for you. I said, but just think of all the money you'd save by not having these 2 secretaries up here doing dumb bunny work. Because I'm surprised neither one of them thought of this. I mean, they're secretaries. You'd think they'd figure out a way to make their job easier. But no. They're dumb bunnies. The world's full of them. And I tell you, the older I get, the less patience I have for them. I was watching a gentleman earlier today on YouTube, and he owns a well and sewage company. He does water wells and he does septic tanks. This man has to be the greatest boss I've ever seen, ever. I tell you, I've had so many bad bosses over the years. That's why I work for myself now. Because I just, you know, every job I've ever had that I have quit, I'll tell you why. Because when the bullshit level exceeds the compensation level, it's time to move on. It's time to find something better. And I have quit more jobs than I've been fired from, that's for sure. And don't get me wrong, I've been fired from quite a few. But again, I have very little patience for stupidity. Because, you know, an ignorant person you can teach. They're just ignorant. They don't know no better because nobody's shown. And I understand that. You know, we're all ignorant in certain areas. But a stupid person, they're just stupid. You can't teach them nothing. They're just lucky to be able to breathe and feed themselves and bathe themselves. Most of them, thank God. Use the restroom by themselves and dress themselves. And those that can't, that truly are impaired, luckily, they can be taught too. And those that can't, we have care facilities for those people. And it's a shame that some of them have to be cared for, but you know, that's the way the world is. And I don't get angry with those kinds of people because they honestly can't help themselves. But the stupid people I'm talking about aren't truly stupid. They're just ignorant. And not only are they just ignorant, they don't want to learn. And they'll tell you they don't want to learn. Alrighty, now we got the two cross braces on. Let's see what's next on our little dance card here. Step 2, use wood screws, number 8, to connect side bases, number 2, and worktops, number 1. Alright, so wood screws are number 8, and it says we got 16 of those. I'm not sure I made that real clear. I'm going to try it again. That's your top line. So 16 wood screws to connect our worktop here. Ain't that pretty? It's pressed wood. It's not real wood. That's that old plastic cheap veneer they put on there to make it look fancy. Make it look like it's real wood. But at least they included a protractor and measurements, so that'll come in handy. And of course they pre-drilled all the little holes here. However, I'm not real sure. Oh, here we go. Sorry. This is the other part we need. And we're going to be connecting them to this right here. Now, let's see here. Let me get these laid out like they're supposed to be so that I can get them put together. Okay, well, that one goes that way and that one goes this way. I do believe those go to the inside. Let me consult my diagram, see if it says anything on there as to which direction. Oh no, see, you know, again, they could have given us a breakout showing us exactly which direction these were supposed to go. Shoot, they even could have put like an A and B on the back of these with a little arrow connecting and saying, this one, this side up, and this one connects to that one. You know, like a 1 here and a 1 on the other one, and a 2 down on this end and a 2 on the other one, so that you get them lined up quick. However, what I've done, and they're just sitting on here at a place to sell them. Here's our little protractor, here's our ruler. You notice this one's got a little notch in it right here. Well, so's the other. Let me turn it over here so you can see. So see, you got a notch here and a little notch here. Both of those are facing in. So I'm assuming that that is the proper direction for them to go. So we're going to flip this over. And again, I'm just using the base right now as a place to set this up so we can put it together. I wish I knew which was the front and which was the back. Let's see here. I do believe that side's the front. This side's the back because the cross brace back here is higher than the other. Which means this has to go on this way because this little crank handle has to be on the front, not the back. So we're gonna get our little wood screws here, get them started, just by fingers, you know. I don't get too crazy yet. Come on, you big old fat fingers. Get down in that tight little space. Ha ha, I made it innuendo. Alrighty. Now a little handy dandy electric screwdriver here. And put the juice to it. Now, I watch quite a few people on YouTube. If you get a chance, check them out. Most of it is small engine repair because I do a lot of that. My favorite, Chicanic. Shout out to Chicanic down in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Another Arkansan here watching her. Y'all get the chance, make sure you watch her. That girl's a genius. I've learned so many little quick tips and tricks from her. And it has saved me, as she likes to say, time, money, and frustration. Which this thing's about to frustrate me. Now y'all have to understand, I don't do small engine repair as a business. I just do it for friends and family and kind of a little side hustle. But I keep being very fortunate. And somebody upstairs is looking out for me because people keep giving me broken lawn equipment, mostly riding mowers here lately. And I take them apart, put them back together, make them run, and sell them on down the road for a pretty decent profit. Well, I mean, of course it's a decent profit. They're giving them to me for free. I inherited a big old Husqvarna from my father when he passed away back in January. It was one of these big old 56-inch Husqvarna. I think it was a 26 or 28 horsepower, hydrostatic drive, real nice. And of course it needed a few things. I needed to put a battery on it, and of course I had to fix the tires, and I did basically an oil change, general tune-up on it and everything. But I didn't know a whole lot about them. I mean, I did small engine stuff when I was a kid, but I'm 56 years old now. And so I didn't really, well, I was 55 when I got it. I just recently had a birthday back in August. But I didn't know a whole lot about it, so I took it to our local repair shop here. Shout out to Partners Airless here in Jacksonville, Arkansas. Or I think they're actually listed as being in North Little Rock, over on Ritchie Road. Those guys are great, but like most small engine repair shops, they're expensive. I may be wrong, but I think they get $80 an hour for their labor. Now, they do good work. I took mine in, and it, like I said, it needed a flat repaired, a couple flats repaired actually. It needed oil change, tune-up, and it had an oil leak. Well, they managed to get everything going and they made it run everything. The oil leak, however, they missed it. They weren't successful on that repair. Next morning when I got up, I had a puddle on the floor. Thank God I put some cardboard under it. But I just parked it on top of the cardboard because that's where I'd been keeping it parked because it was leaking. But the next morning, I had looked like a quart of oil on that piece of cardboard. And I took it back to them, and they fixed it. And they did it in a day, which is quick for them, and didn't charge me anything. That's the way to do good business. But wasn't too much longer after that, and a gentleman was getting rid of a 46-inch hydrostatic drive. Now this one, unlike my Husqvarna, it has the pedals that you step on to make it go forward and back. And the Husqvarna used a shift lever to make it do it. And I like the pedal idea a little better. Again, this was a 46-inch Craftsman. And he'd been sitting out at the end of his driveway on the edge of the road for like 3 weeks. So I loaded up my little mower trailer and I went over there and I asked him, what do you want to do with it? And he said, just haul it off, get rid of it. It's no good. Well, it took me kind of a while to get it up on that little trailer because he lives on a hill, and of course my little trailer is a tilt trailer, so I had to use a come along with the tongue up in the air to get it up the trailer, and but then the trailer's actually pointed downhill, so it was not easy to say the least. But I got it home, and I took the battery out of my Husqvarna and put it in it, and it cranked. Didn't start, but it cranked. So I got to looking, and seems the seat switch was bad. So instead of actually just replacing the seat switch, I do what a lot of idiots do. I just hotwired around all the safeties on that mower, and it started right up. And not only did it start right up, but it ran perfect, just purred. So I drove it outside, put some air in the tires, engaged the blades on it, and again, no bad vibrations or anything, no growling from the idlers. So I thought, okay, well, let's mow some grass. And I mowed my front yard in about 10 minutes flat. I decided right then and there, that was going to be my new mower. Now it needed the seat put on it. Well, it had the seat frame, it didn't have the cushion. And I didn't have the money at the time to buy a cushion for it, but I had one of these little pads like you can, well, no, I take it back, it's not one of those. I have one of these little foam deals. I'll show it to you here in just a second. That it's a floaty for the pool. You put it between your legs and it lets you sit up on it. And I just took that and screwed that to the plastic frame, and that was my seat. Then I listed it and my Husqvarna on Craigslist. I listed it for $600. I listed the Husqvarna for $925. And I sold the Husqvarna for $23. The gentleman came all the way from Joplin, Missouri. Here's what I was talking about. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, but you sit right here, and this goes up your backside, and it's got this little handle here so you can hang on. I guess it could go like this. Anyway, let's float the pool. But like I said, you can see where I screwed it down, and that became my seat cushion. Anyway, he showed up a couple of weeks later, gave me $923 for it because he spent $2 somewhere. And I took his money and helped him load it up. And I told him, now, it's probably going to need a starter solenoid in a week or two. I said, if you turn the key and it don't start and it won't jump, that's what that is. I said, but they're afraid of cheating and everything. And sure enough, he took it home and he used it for a couple of weeks, and then he texted me and he said, hey, this thing won't start. And I told him, I said, well, it's probably a starter solenoid. So I told him how to basically jump around the solenoid with a screwdriver, just like you used to do on the old cars and whatnot. And, the cars from like the 60s and 70s, you could do that. These newer ones nowadays, you can't do that. You'll blow something. Well, not only that, they got all them damn electronics and everything on it anyway. It keeps you from doing it. But taught him how to do that, and he managed to get it started. And then I sent him a link from Amazon for the starter solenoid for it, and asked him if he understood how to put it on. And he said, yeah, that he wasn't born yesterday. Well, he wasn't born yesterday. And although he was born at night, he wasn't born last night, as the saying goes. So he bought his part and everything. And I didn't hear anything back from him, so I figured he was successful. Well, then I thought, well, I'll hit him up just to see, he managed to do it. And he didn't manage to do it, but his wife did. She's one of the good country girls that knows what she's doing. Apparently he was gone somewhere when the part came. She wanted to know what it was. She opened it up, recognized it, swapped it out. and went out and started. Well, she's the one that uses that mower. He's got a big old tractor, and he got it for her so she can mow in and around the trees. But she got started and mowed and everything, and I sent him a text, but she was the one that answered, and she told me all this. She's a real sweet lady, and said that she really, really liked it, but the steering was loose on it. And I told her, I said, well, I told him the steering was loose on it, and that it needed new bushing. And I screenshotted some pictures of the plastic bushings that go in the dash and down on the big sector gear that the ring gear turns. Or I guess it's not a ring gear, but it's just a regular round gear, you know. But it turns this big pie-shaped sector gear. And of course, that's what's attached to the tie rod ends, which actually turn the spindles and turn the front end. And I asked her, I said, do you think you can put new bushings on it? She said, if I can manage to get the steering wheel off of it, I can. And so I found a video, and if I'm not mistaken, that was another Carol Fixes All small engine repair video from YouTube, explaining how to do that. And I sent it to her, and she texted me back a couple hours later and said she had it fixed. That she was able to get the bushings locally, which kind of surprised me. Usually you have to order all these parts off of Scamazon, or as old Terrell says, that's how he calls Amazon, or Fleabay, which is what he calls eBay. He's got this whole character that he does. He's a Terrell Dactyl. That's the name he goes by on YouTube. You get a chance, look him up. He's pretty funny, but he dons this whole persona. He's got him some busted teeth, you know, hillbilly teeth, and this old mullet wig, and he talks like, you know, on these old timers. He doesn't say carburetor, he says carburetor. He doesn't say battery, he says battery. It's pretty funny. And I know he's further north because they get winter there, unlike we do in the south. You know, they actually have snow blowers and stuff. So wherever he is pretty cold. But it's so funny because, I mean, he talks like he's from Alabama or something. Anyway, I about got this on. I'm about ready to move to the next step. Oh, come on, really? That is, what's the 10th time I dropped that screw? I'll just have to edit that out. All right, got all those in. Let's see what our next step is. Okay. Fit the leg frames into the side bases. Line up the holes in the side base with the holes in the leg frame. Insert bolts, number 3, washers number 7, from the outside of the base and attach to washers 7 and nuts 11 from the inside, while screwdriver and spanner to tighten the screws. God, they can't even write proper English. I mean, they say spanner, that's English, but it shouldn't say from inside whilst screwdriver and spanner to tighten screws. I don't know. That just well, folks, somewhere I have managed to misplace 2 washers. Ooh. Now, I caught myself counting all these washers before I started. I could have swore I had enough, but Apparently I was wrong, but that's all right. I've got one of those drawers. I know all you guys that have tools and stuff have, like this. Every little nut, bolt, screw that, you know, comes off of things over the years. And you thought, you know, I can't throw that away. I might need that. And we always find a use for them, because there's always, you know, something that we need it for. That one's close. A little small. That one's a little thick. Well, that one's a little. That's just gonna have to do. Let's see if I can dig us another one out of here. Come on, magic drawer, give me what I need. Yeah, I saw Chicanic once. Her husband came to her and he says, I need such and such and such and such. And she went to a big old drawer like this. And I mean, she looked in there and she didn't even have to really rifle around through it like I'm having to do. She went right in there and said, here, pulled it out, put it on the little piece that he was trying to match it up to, and what do you know? Perfect match. I think that's too big. Well, oh, here we go. Maybe that's it. Well, the inside diameter of that one's a little big. Let me keep looking here. Surely I've got one. Pull that out a little more. Dig to the back. Huh. Well, I may not have another one. I might have to go with something that's not quite the right size. You know, that does happen sometimes. Huh. I know y'all are all screaming, there it is, you just went over it. Huh. See, that one's too big again, but I think too big in this case might actually be okay. That one is too small. And that's got, no, that inner diameter is too small. Oh, hello. And there it is. And what do you know? It's painted black like the legs. So that takes care of our two missing washer problem. Now let's get you set back up. Now let's get this top on this thing. All right, make a little adjustment here. And again, that is the front, so the crank handle is going to go that way. And we put a screw through the holes. Out the other side. Put a washer on. And this is where those lock nuts came in. Or nylock, I should say. Now, I don't recommend this to you guys at home, but I got like fingers of steel. So I can hold that nut and tighten that down. Now don't get me wrong, I'll come back later when y'all aren't here, and I'll tighten it down proper like and put a wrench on. But for our purposes, I'm just going to be macho and use my fingers. Well, now, what do you know? One of my replacement washers does not have a large enough inside diameter to go over the bolt. That's all right. I got another one in there. I know I can dig it out. Got a bigger inside diameter. Make it work. For my He-Man routine. He-Man. All right. Ooh, didn't mean to knock you out of the way. So, there's where we just put that in. There. There. And now we're going to repeat the process on the other side. You know, I saw this, and it reminded me of the old Black & Decker Workman Workmates. I had a couple of those over the years, and I tell you what, hands down, one of the best little workbenches I've ever had. I like the fact that you could fold it up. You can make it shorter just by folding in the very bottom of the legs, or you can fold it up completely and carry it like a suitcase. And that's what I was kind of hoping this was when I saw it and bought it. And of course I got it for a steal. I think I only paid, give me $12.87 for it, and the shipping was free. I don't know how many of y'all have shopped Temu, but you know, Temu is gambling in more ways than one. Not only are you gambling with the quality of the merchandise you get sometimes, but sometimes you're gambling because, I don't know, if you've been on their site, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you get on their site and you buy something, and before you can get to the cart, they're like, wait, there's more. Here, spend this. Oh, you won this and you won that. And if you spend this much more, then we'll give you $100 free credit that you can use for anything you want. Or we'll send it to your PayPal. Or, you know, you get free shipping. Well, you always get free shipping. That's what they don't tell you. But it's just a way of them making you spend more money on their website. And it's good. And, you know, they don't really list anything. I mean, they do if you're paying attention. But the way things are hidden, it's hard to find a specific item that you're looking for. I mean, yeah, you can search for it and you usually find it. But you inevitably always end up doom scrolling through all these products. And you see one, you go, oh man, that's a good price. But you don't look at it, you just kind of keep going. And you get another 2 or 3 pages in, and here's the exact same product again from another manufacturer, supposedly. And it's $10 cheaper than the one you looked at a while ago. So that's the thing you kind of have to watch out for, because most of their products on there have more than one price. And it's the exact same thing. Well, that works pretty good. Now this ain't nearly as heavy as the one that Black & Decker made. And of course, Black & Decker, their worktop and everything was not this cheap MDF particle board shit. And of course now one of mine, I used it so much I wore it out. And so I put good old white oak on top of mine and drilled all the holes and everything else and swapped it out. I did that for years until I ran over it with a work truck. And when I did that, it bent the frame all up and everything. And I had another one. A buddy of mine, I went to throw it in the dumpster. No, don't throw that in the dumpster. I'll take that. And he took it home. And of course, he straightened the frame out and he put new wood on it and everything. And he still owns it to this day. Now, as for my other one, it got stolen. And I didn't go looking for this to buy this. It was just one of those that I saw it, and it was one of those things that comes in real handy. I build bookshelves and stuff on the side, mostly for my own house, but it'll come in real handy for that. Well, there it is. We got it all put together, and it looks great. Works good. I mean, it's pretty sturdy. It says it'll hold, how many pounds will it say? I was kind of surprised. Do not exceed 220 pounds. So that means you can't put my fat ass on it, but if I keep on this Ozempic and lose another 50 pounds, my butt can get up there. All righty. Y'all have a good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed my video. Just remember to like and subscribe.